As you travel about the country to new areas you're visiting for the first time, are you surprised by things you didn't know about? New laws, different times you can buy liquor. This week, we cover things that might surprise you when you visit a new region. This is RV Miles.
This podcast is sponsored by LL Bean, who makes it easy and fun to simply step outside. That might mean breaking a speed record in a rugged, built-for-fun Sonic snow tube, walking an extra block in a warm, weather-resistant down jacket, or just taking a breath on your doorstep before cozying up in a quilted sweatshirt. For however you experience the outdoors, shop clothing and gear at llbean.com. Be an outsider.
Welcome to episode 229 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby, and we are two full-time travelers who, along with our three boys, have been crisscrossing North America on one epic road trip. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from travel destinations to industry news, gear, our national parks, and a whole lot more.
We are coming to you again from northern Florida, about an hour outside of Tallahassee. We did a monthly stay at this campground, so we're sat down here for just a wee bit longer.
We've put out all the things.
And put them back. And put them out.
Put them back
every time it rains.
Yes.
Speaking of things we put out, we talked about chairs last week and how annoyed we have been with camping chairs and how we bought a new chair that is falling apart already. And thank you so much to all of you that have sent in recommendations for camping chairs. We got a flood of them. So we're going to look through them, and I think we might share some of your thoughts on a future podcast. But thank you again for sending all that in.
Yeah, it's been really cool, and I can't wait to actually maybe get a chair that doesn't break within 2 weeks of ownership.
We are dealing with extremely high pollen counts here right now. So I thought it'd be cool to kick off the show with Abby's brushing the ants away.
Listen, the ants again this week. I know y'all heard it last week. I didn't know it was being kept in. The ants are, can we just talk about them for a second? Because we almost black tanked them before we move on to allergies. The ants here are incredibly aggressive.
They bite. Mm-hmm.
They bite, but they come in all different sizes. Like, some of them look like double ants. Like, I keep thinking this is inappropriate ants. Like,
but
stop.
No, it's just a big ant.
They're just a big ant. Then there's the it's the tiny ones that bite and hurt.
So we had our broom laying up against the trailer, just resting up against the trailer the other day. And I walked by it and I noticed a line of ants coming up the broom. And that's how they were getting into our RV.
They were marching one by one. Hurrah.
Anyway, the ants are annoying, but so is the pollen, which made it pique my interest when this article came across my desk, my virtual desk. It's a list of the top 10 cities for people with allergies from the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. So
it almost reads like, if you're looking to really ramp up your allergies, these are the 10 cities.
No, it's the opposite of that. These are the best allergies to. These are the best cities to go to if you have allergies. So if you want to vacation somewhere where you won't have to deal with your allergies, this might be something from you.
I was more speaking to how you
how I presented
into this.
it.
Yeah, like how we walked into this. Like, these are the 10 cities you want to go to for allergies.
These are ranked from 10 to 1, and I'm just going through them quick. No surprise, most of them are in the West, but there are a couple little surprises, actually. Fresno, California is number 10, which actually surprised me because, there's a tendency for there to be air pollution in big cities in California. And they did mention that air pollution can be a problem, but the fact that Fresno is surrounded by mostly farms helps it a little bit. And Phoenix is the next. Obviously, desert climate. Provo, Utah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can we start this whole thing over again? Because I literally thought we were about to talk about the 10 cities with the highest allergy.
I just explained this. To you a second time.
Listen, if you keep this in,
You corrected me, and then I explained it again.
you're going to keep this in. You're going to do this to me. I just know it. I can feel it. Okay, I'm with you now because I was reading over your shoulder and I could not understand why they were like, come to Fresno. It's lovely. When I thought we were talking about places you don't want to go to.
Places that you should go to if you have allergies.
Okay, well, bring it on, everybody.
Provo, Utah, number 8. Denver, Colorado, number 7.
Okay.
Sacramento, California, number 6. Portland, Oregon, number 5.
Okay.
San Jose, California, number 4.
Will we be leaving?
Clearly, California. San Francisco, California, number 3. So clearly, yeah, if you are on the West Coast, you have a much better time of allergies. However, number 2, Durham, North Carolina.
Another reason to love Durham.
We love the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area. We really love that area and would potentially live there one day for sure.
For sure.
And there's a lot of fun stuff to do. But it's nice because it's sort of big and metropolitan, but also spread out.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a part of why. But
well, it also says that they get nearly 50 inches of rain a year.
Yeah.
And I will say the nice thing about the storms we had come in last week was that all of us allergy sufferers, like, just things felt so much better. So much better.
Durham is also a big medical city as well. So if you need treatment for your allergies, they say that's a good reason to go there as well. And then number 1 is Seattle, Washington. So back on the West Coast.
Well, we're
again.
back on the West Coast. So
Yeah.
we only really left the West once for North Carolina.
Now, the worst city for allergies in the country is Scranton, Pennsylvania. Scranton has far higher than average fall and spring pollen counts and has fewer board-certified immunologists and allergists to help people with their symptoms than most cities.
Scranton, what?
It even says, so if you suffer from allergies, you're better off getting to know Scranton through the office than actually moving there.
That's cute.
So I would love to know in the comments if you suffer from allergies and what travel has been like for you with allergies, because I think that gets into what our conversation today is about, is things that when you start traveling the country for the first time or in earnest, you might be surprised about when you visit an area. And I know for us, things like pollen and climate in general has been a big thing that we, maybe we have misconceptions about certain areas, and then you kind of get surprised by them when you visit them.
Yes, and this will also feed into what my black tank is going to be later in the episode as well.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about things that you might want to consider traveling the country.
We'll be right back. As an RVer, you know how important it is to have a quality RV roadside assistance company on your side, like CoachNet. Imagine driving down a major highway and hearing an explosion. Immediate panic sets in as you realize you just had a high-speed blowout. Your nerves are shot, you're stressed, scared, and now stranded. When you have CoachNet, the first thing they ask when calling is, are you in a safe location? Showing a level of care that immediately puts you at ease. They send out a tow truck suited for your RV and tow you to a repair shop where you can catch your breath and finally relax. CoachNet has over 30 years of RV industry expertise, and their mission is to ensure that you enjoy a carefree RVing experience by getting you back on the road to making memories with your family and friends. For more information about CoachNet memberships, visit welcome.coachnet.com/RVMiles.
Electrical surge protection is one of the cheapest insurance policies you can provide for your RV, and the Power Watchdog Smart Surge Protector, made by Hugest Autoformers, beats the competition with field replaceable surge modules. With other brands, when the surge protector takes a large surge or a spike, you have to throw it away. The Power Watchdog can be brought back to life with one small, affordable part that you can replace yourself. They'll even give you a free surge module in the first 2 years, and now have a limited lifetime warranty. Use the coupon code RVMILES, all one word, for 10% off your order at HugestAutoformers.com. That's RVMILES for 10% off at HugestAutoformers.com.
All right, we're back to talk about travel considerations for visiting new parts of the country for the first time. And I think the first and most important, the reason it topped our list here, is the weather. Obviously, climates are different all across the country, and you need to know what to expect when it comes to the weather, and you need to watch the weather constantly to sort of learn what's going on in that area. So
Yeah, I can't stress enough this time of year, especially if you're going to be in the South, if you're going to be in the Midwest. Actually, Tornado Alley continues to shift year after year. It's moving.
it's basically the whole Midwest and South now, I
It
think.
feels like it. Yeah. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you have a reliable way of keeping up on what's happening with the weather around you, and that you really don't let a day go by without having some kind of an idea of what's coming in the next 24 to 48 hours, because we have had some pretty intense storms come through. And a few nights ago, we had a storm that was coming in off the Gulf. It had some cells in it that were tornado producing. It looked like it was going to come in. In fact, a lot of people in the RV Miles Facebook group were kind of discussing whether or not they should move on that Saturday. And it shifted. And it shifted a little south, and unfortunately it hit the area of Ocala. But, you wouldn't really know those things are going on if you just stepped outside and were hanging out in your campsite, because it happened overnight. So, our tornado watch, thunderstorm warning and everything didn't expire until 6 o'clock in the morning, but all of the activity was happening between like 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. So I didn't sleep much that night. I was kind of waking up about every 45 minutes to an hour to kind of check on what was going on with the radar, because you are essentially in something that can very easily be blown down should a tornado come in. And you also have a campground where, the nearest shelter may not be super close to you. Our nearest shelter at this campground is not close. It's a decent.
I don't trust any of the buildings in this campground to be shelter.
That's a conversation.
I mean, I don't trust
day.
any of them more than our RV. Like, that's
Yes,
how little
and
I trust any
actually,
buildings here.
And I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. Like, I'm having a hard time hearing, and we will also talk about that in the Black Tank. But we have even discussed, like, in a situation where we are right now at this campground where we don't feel comfortable that any of the buildings here would hold up, we would probably get in the truck and head over to the gas station that is about half a mile from here. That's where I would go if there was a seek shelter.
Yeah, or God forbid it's so last minute you have to get down in a ditch, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I don't know that I would trust a lot of these buildings because, again, you want to go to some place that's not only sturdy, but is lacking in windows.
Regardless, the point being, you may be from an area where there are no tornadoes and you're traveling to an area where there are, and you just need to research the precautions that you need to take and follow the weather. When we first hit the road, we didn't really know about dust storms and got hit with a couple dust storms in the Southwest. Things like black ice, fog. Fog is something we rarely ever had to deal with back in the Midwest. There's fog, but not like fog where like you can't see, and that's something really interesting when you come across it the first time driving.
Well, and I think if you have been listening to the podcast or you're going back through our archives and rediscovering some of our older episodes, you're going to experience these things with us because, we talked about them. The dust storm in New Mexico, the fog in California, the fog in the storm we got caught in Colorado last year. I mean, we've been on the road for almost 6 years, and as diligent as we try to be, sometimes we can't always be that, or sometimes we trip up as well. And so these are just really good reminders for us too.
Mm-hmm. The next one on the list is moving firewood. And this is a real important consideration that a lot of people don't know about, is that you really need to check what the rules are about moving firewood either across state lines or within a state. Sometimes it's between counties. Sometimes it's over a certain number of miles that you're not supposed to move firewood. And, there's these terrible tree diseases that are ravaging the U.S., and they have traced them almost primarily to specifically RVers moving firewood around. It is that important. So really consider not taking firewood with you on a long journey and buying it locally. And in some places you legally have to, and in some campgrounds you can't even bring it in. But that's
Like
something
here.
important to look at. Don'tMoveFirewood.org is a great place to get all of that information. Next up is insects, plants, animals, anything like that might be
Snakes.
different and dangerous in a new area. You want to learn a little bit about that stuff. Don't be afraid of that stuff because, I mean,
Be afraid of snakes. It's okay.
well, listen, we've spent a long time in the Southwest. We've spent a lot of winter time in the Southwest. And throughout most of the winter, most of those snakes and scorpions are hibernating. And I don't think we've ever seen a snake or a scorpion in the Southwest.
No, but I know they're there and they're
But they're-
looking at me and they're waiting for a moment when I'm alone.
But it's
I
not
know
just
it.
it's not just those things. It's poison ivy and
Yes.
and all that sort of stuff that might be different in a different area that you travel to.
Do you know the one place? I'm just off the cuff quizzing you here now on the show. I'm just going to put you on the spot. Can you think of the one place that I've said in this country I never ever want to go visit? Where's one place I don't want to go?
Oh yeah, it's the Everglades.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
Not going there. Not going there.
I know.
Yeah. And now you know why. Snakes.
All right. Next up is a big one, driving laws. If you've never left your state very much, you might think that the driving laws are pretty much the same across the country. And most of them are, but the fact is there are some squirrely ones that might be important for you to know about. It can be things like lower speed limits for towing. So for instance, California, you're not supposed to go over 55 if you're towing. There are other states that have similar laws or they have lower speed limits for towing, and that might apply to you. So that's something important to consider.
Some also just have really aggressively high speed limits on 2-lane highways where you think, why on earth are we all going 80 miles per hour here when there's driveways all along these 2-lane highways? But I'm not talking about Texas or anything, but I
Or they have laws about if you have more than 5 vehicles behind you, you need to pull over and let them by, stuff like that.
Poor Wanderlust. We learned that. We knew that law real quick, real fast.
Right turns on red. Some states they're legal, some states they're not. Sometimes there has to be a sign. Sometimes you can always turn right on red. Sometimes the red arrow, this one gets me being from
Yeah.
Illinois. So if there's a red arrow pointing right, to me, being from Illinois, that means you cannot turn right at the moment while this light is on,
Yes.
right? However, in some states, that just means you can turn right when it's safe. Like we would typically do in Illinois, stop at the red light, look, and go. In some states, that just means the same thing that a round red light means.
It's the same as when there's the flashing green arrow. The flashing green arrow always trips me up.
Yeah, why not
for-
make it yellow? Be cautious as you turn left.
I just think you should keep it a solid flashing green like everybody else. And stop confusing all of us.
It is confusing, but yeah, that right on red arrow is very, very weird to me. Things like U-turn, some states, Florida, like you can't get anywhere without doing a U-turn.
Without Garmin wanting to, we've talked about this, without Garmin wanting us to U-turn.
Well, and there are lots of towns that are just designed for you to U-turn in Florida.
Yes.
And then there are some states where U-turning, you only U-turn where it specifically says U-turn is okay.
This isn't part of the list, but can I just throw this out here really quick? Because we're talking about things like U-turn. Does it seem like there's been a surge of roundabouts
Oh yes.
lately?
They're
Like-
that's legit. That legitimately has happened.
Yes.
That a lot more roundabouts have put in, and roundabouts are great.
Are they?
If the people that use them know how to use them, and Americans will get better at that. But also the
I don't
people
wanna-
that install them need to know how to install them, because sometimes they don't make any darn sense.
Why? Okay, so 2-lane roundabouts. And look, I don't want to come at you again, the Villages, but I have to, because when we were there the last time, so it's a 2-lane roundabout and it's all direct. We almost got hit 3 different times because someone in the outer lane of the 2-lane roundabout is supposed to go straight. They cannot go to the left because they are in the outer. And I tell you, those people were like, I do what I want. And we almost got sideswiped. We almost sideswiped someone else because they just decided they were going to be in that outer lane and take that left in the roundabout. And didn't matter who we were.
There's one in between Camp Verde and Cottonwood, Arizona that drives me insane.
Yes.
So that route, it's a state route with not very much traffic, and there are like 14 roundabouts in between those two towns. It's insane. Yeah. And I almost hit you in the face. And just one of those roundabouts has a right turn.
Oh, yeah. Into the gas station.
Into the gas station just before the roundabout begins. So you're staying to the right as if you're going into the roundabout, as you do on the first 5 of them, and you get in that one. And then all of a sudden, you're forced to turn right.
Gotta get gas.
So if there's going to be a roundabout, there shouldn't be additional turns. Yeah. It should just be a roundabout. Also, there are some on that route where there's a roundabout, but both of the opposite sides, that road is not even built yet. So it's around. You have to go around a roundabout
to go
where there's no turns.
Boy, I did not know what I was opening up here with you on. Well, we could do a whole episode on roundabouts.
Other things, speed and red light cameras might not be something that you're used to in your area. Obviously, we should stay below the speed limit and not run red lights. But those are important things. And actually, the right on red is where a lot of the red light cameras get a lot of people. Using a phone, obviously you shouldn't use a phone while you're driving, but some states it's even illegal to be like holding it and with your GPS or whatever. So hands-free is often a rule in lots of states. Some states you can't have anything on the dashboard at all. Or hanging from your rear view mirror. So that tag from the campground that they want you to have on your rear view mirror.
So my quintessential Midwest Yankee Candle.
Your Yankee Candle air freshener. You don't want to take that down.
Got to take that down.
Don't want to take that down.
Bummer.
Couple states, Oregon and New Jersey, you can't pump your own gas.
Nope.
They got to pump it for you. And that can cause a problem actually beyond that, where sometimes it's hard to get fuel in those states after a certain time. So
that causes no
late
problems
in the evening or overnight, you might have an issue getting fuel because stations aren't staffing all day long in some areas.
I got zero issue with it.
Things like tolls can be paid differently in different states. Your toll pass, you want to know what states your electronic toll pass works in, which states do pay by plate, all that sort of stuff. Firearms, if you carry a firearm, definitely look up all the laws about firearms and transporting those across state lines, because that can get you in a heap of trouble. Simple things like where to get groceries and supplies. If you go to Montana, for instance, big national park vacation up to Wyoming and Montana, and you want to go to a store to get some supplies, you might be surprised to find out that there are only like 6 Walmarts in the entire state of Montana.
Yeah, but there's like 60 Dollar Trees.
Sure.
Just in a 10-block radius.
Well, Dollar Trees are everywhere. We could establish that right now. Lots of places, though, it might be an hour to get to a major grocery store of some sort. So you want to know what the area like that you're going to be traveling is.
That's what it's been here. Mm-hmm. So
in Florida. Yeah. I mean, an hour to get to a real grocery store. There's actually a Winn-Dixie nearby, but it had a fire. So.
Yeah, it caught on fire. So we're not going
things
there.
happen. Things like alcohol availability. Some states you can't get alcohol on Sundays. Some states it's after a certain time. Some states the grocery stores only sell beer and wine, and if you want liquor, you got to go to a liquor store. Some states, all of it's in a liquor store.
Okay, you know how the roundabouts get you? Having to go to a liquor store when the grocery store only has beer and wine, I can't.
Oh, I despise going to a liquor store. I much prefer getting it from a grocery store.
It's just the most useless step.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah.
And then tax rates. Tax rates can be different in different states. That might be something you want to pay attention to, especially when it comes to like, are you going to get fuel before you cross a state line? Are you going to do a big grocery shop before you cross a state line? It could be a difference of like $30, right? So it's something to really consider. And there's a great place where you can find the tax rates and some of the driving laws and other stuff. There's an app called State Lines that we've had for years. It's actually the folks at Technomadia and the Mobile Internet Resource Center, Chris and Sheree, it's their app, and we've had it for years, and it's actually kind of fun. We've talked about this on the podcast in the past, but when there's like no internet service, we like sometimes we'll just scroll through it and be like, oh, check out the laws in this state.
By we
he
means
this was years ago. We sat down and we were so bored we just sort of scrolled through the different rules in different states.
I mean, because this is the same as last night when I asked you what game you... Jay, you want to tell everybody what game you were playing on your phone last night in bed?
I was playing this awesome game. It's actually a terrible game, but it's an awesome game. There's this game called Freeway. I think it's called Freeways. It's really probably better off on like an iPad or a computer screen, but I was playing it on my iPhone.
Yes.
And basically you create highway interchanges. So they give you like traffic coming from 2, 3, 4, 5 directions, and you have to draw what the interchange looks like. And then once you've drawn it, once you've connected everybody going every single different direction, and it tells you which direction like the heaviest traffic will be from, etc. Then you click a button that speeds the traffic up and gives you an efficiency rating of how efficient the interchange you built is.
We were laying in bed and I said,
it's
hey.
really the most Jason thing ever.
Yes.
But
because I was like, what are you doing, babe? And he's like,
drawing interchanges.
And I was like, what? He said, yeah, I'm drawing interchanges.
But it's a really like
and I said, okay, you clearly are needing some checkout time.
It's actually really difficult to play on a phone because it's like you have to draw with your finger and there's no undo button. And it's like playing Oregon Trail. It's like old school.
It's very charming.
App.
Meanwhile, I'm over there 2 dots trying to like...
Yeah, you haven't got to the point in 2 dots where
I'm beating you yet? No, not yet.
Yeah, because when you get to that point, you'll be like, I hate this game. I'm never playing it again.
Because if you stop...
I got to in 2 dots and I was like, no, this is it. Look, I'm not paying you for your boost 2 dots.
If you got to level 105 on 2 dots... I won't stop till I get to level 106. And then I'll stop playing 2 dots. And you know that to be true.
Right. That's it for this conversation. But if you have any additional things to add that might be regionally different in different areas, different regions are awesome. And that's why we're exploring, right? Mm-hmm. Finding different foods and all that sort of stuff. But if you have some little proclivities about your area, we would love to know them. Leave them in the comments on the YouTube video or on the Facebook post where we post this episode. Wherever you see this episode posted, you can comment on it there.
Facebook group.
We're going to take a break and we'll come back, check the level of our tanks.
TikTok. We'll be right back. If you've been thinking about picking up a Solo Stove, now is the perfect time. As we get ready for the camping season, Solo Stove continues to offer discounts on their popular fire pits, including our favorite, the Bonfire. RV Miles listeners can save even more money by heading over to rvmiles.com/solostove and using the link and promo code. Take advantage of all the discounts to be had before camping season kicks into full gear and get your Solo Stove today. rvmiles.com/solostove and then click the link and use the promo code to save even more.
Put your phone down. You literally have your phone on the table to check so people see it like, checking my phone.
I got no apologies. Check my phone. I got kids. I got life. Got no apologies. Everybody else does it. Everybody does it.
It is time to check the level of our tanks. Abby, what is in your black tank this week?
So my black tank, to just kind of go back to allergies and then the comment I made about feeling like I was cutting you off this whole episode, is on Tuesday I had to drive. And you know what? This I actually wanted to mention in the list we were talking about, is that I do think it's a really good idea to know where the closest minute clinic or urgent care or hospital is, especially when you find yourself in a remote location. As I had to drive an hour Tuesday to Tallahassee to go to a CVS Minute clinic because I had some crazy stuff going on with my ears. I wasn't feeling good. And I ended up being diagnosed with an ear infection. I've never had an ear infection before. And I was put on a couple of different antibiotics. But the reason I'm black tanking it is it never really occurred to me that an ear infection could make you feel as awful as it makes you feel. I expected it to make me feel kind of, off balance a little bit. It's messing with all my equilibrium. I get all that. But just the general feeling of like crudiness
And the medication's not helping you in that
No,
either.
the medication's not helping either, because it's not only an ear infection, like, fluid and everything behind the eardrum, but then the ear canal itself was infected and swollen.
It's
too.
helping.
So,
it's just
yeah,
it's making you feel nauseous.
Yeah, absolutely. It's helping. I'm not going to not take it. Like, the nausea outweighs, or I would rather have that than what the ear infection. But that is why I feel like, and you might notice if you're watching, that I've taken one of these headsets off my ear, because this is my good one, my right one, and I feel like I cannot hear Jason today on this show. So, apologies if I've been cutting him off a little bit more than I normally do, because I know how that sets some of you on fire. I had to throw that in there. For anyone and for children who have these chronic ear infections and stuff, those poor babies, this has been tough.
Yeah.
So there we go.
What's in your fresh tank?
My fresh tank goes to the Ninja toaster oven. I think it's actually called like the Ninja Flip.
Yeah,
toaster
it's actually
oven.
like the ST103 or something silly like that. But it's the one that flips up.
Yes, and we just got it about last week. It's much bigger and heavier than I anticipated. If you head over to the Our Wandering Family on Facebook, you can watch the reel that I put up about Jason unpacking it for us and the realization of just how big it was.
We had it inside, and it took up quite a bit of counter space, even though it flips up and stands vertical when you're done with it.
Yes.
So we made the decision to completely overhaul our outdoor kitchen, which was a great decision anyway, because we weren't using the outdoor refrigerator. We actually have more fridge space in this RV than we've ever had in any of our apartments. So we really didn't need that outdoor fridge, and we would have rather had that for storage and stuff anyway. So we've kind of overhauled our outdoor kitchen, and we've put this big toaster oven out there, and now we're actually using the burners for the first time. We've never been using the burners before, and I'm actually cooking outside quite a bit.
Yeah, and I wish, we originally were hoping to film this episode for those on YouTube facing all of that, but, we're always dealing with sort of light in the sun. So I will try actually maybe to make a little reel of what we've done.
Probably should have done one as I was doing it.
We always think about the things we should have done after we've done them. That's just how we operate. So those are my black and fresh tanks for this week. Jason, what is in your black tank?
My black tank is a recall of RV antifreeze.
You mean antifreeze?
Yes, I just enunciated it. Antifreeze. Antifreeze. Antifreeze.
Yes. Please continue with this very important piece of news.
This is Prestone. Prestone's the company that makes it, but the line was actually called Shop Pro RV and Marine Antifreeze. It was only sold at AutoZones.
Okay.
But what it looks like happened was Prestone filled these bottles that are labeled RV and Marine Antifreeze with windshield washer fluid, which contains methanol.
Yes.
Which is, obviously in very small quantities, very poisonous to humans and pets and wildlife and all that.
Oh my goodness.
You definitely don't want to have that in your freshwater systems. Now, thankfully, they only sold like around 325 bottles of this, and it's really easy to identify because it's blue. RV antifreeze should always be pink, but it was blue. So if you happen to have bought antifreeze from AutoZone and it is blue, or you just bought a new RV and you're dewinterizing it, if the antifreeze comes out blue, you need to go through some extra steps to really clear out that system. And essentially, Prestone wants you to contact them so that they can give you a refund and walk you through it.
I mean, the only, silver lining here is that clearly no one's shopping at AutoZone. Only 325 bottles were sold.
They were only sold in a certain month. I mean, but how do you screw that up? I mean, come on. It's a different color.
Jason, if I had the answer to that, I'd have the answer to so many other things in this world. Well,
Here's the other thing. These were sold in October. Mm-hmm. They're blue. It's clearly a mistake. How are we only finding out about it now?
5 months later? Maybe because someone dewinterized?
Probably.
And was like, hold the phone? And called AutoZone?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Holy moly.
Here you go.
There you go. All right. What's in your fresh tank?
My fresh tank is another kitchen item. So We are radically changing our diets
Yes.
at the moment.
Yes.
We're trying to be a lot healthier, and
We're addressing some health issues
Yes.
for me that require a pretty drastic altering of the things that I eat. So no gluten, no dairy.
we're just eating healthier in general.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we bought to assist in that process is something that we have wanted for a long time, is a new blender. However, we didn't just go out and get any old blender. We got a Blendtec blender.
And by we mean
Abby ordered. I'm shocked she ordered such a fancy blender,
well
because would be what because I have for years have been watching the Blendtec's
Hold
YouTube channel.
up. Before you tell this story, let me tell you how this comes about, of this piece of information he's about to share. So I do all of this research and reading because I have a couple of books I'm following. One of them is someone I really like. Her name is Danielle Walker, Against All Grain. Go check out her website. I love her. And so I was reading one of her cookbooks, and she's talking about getting a Blendtec and that it's kind of expensive. So I looked it up, and I about passed out when I saw how expensive it was. But then I started doing a lot of reading, and I started looking at, everyone talks a lot about getting a Vitamix, which is even more expensive. So then I started comparing the two and all of this, and I made the decision one day. I was sitting out here, I closed my eyes, and I hit order, and I was like, I'm just doing it. And so later that day, I said I ordered the blender. It's going to be here in a few days. And I said, I got a Blendtec. And it's like Jason's whole face just lit up. And he was like, did you say you bought a Blendtec? And I said, yeah, I bought a Blendtec. I did some research, seemed like a good blender. And he just was like, I have to show you this YouTube channel. You have to come watch this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And now go on.
I've been watching their YouTube channel for years because they have a YouTube channel where they put ridiculous things in a Blendtec blender and say, and the series is called Will It Blend?
Yeah.
So they'll put the wooden end of a yard rake in there and use it like it's a wood chipper, and a pile of cell phones, and they just grind into dust. So I was very excited, and we have used the heck out of that thing already.
Awesome.
We've only had it for like a week, and we are just making smoothie after smoothie. I'm eating all kinds of vegetables. I'm a real picky eater.
Oh,
but I've been eating salads, y'all. I've been having smoothies with spinach and carrots in them,
chia seeds and all kinds of things. And what I think is what I find so charming about Jason, and I've always found so charming about Jason, and he's revealed two of them today on the show, is that the man watches things like, can I stick cell phones into this blender and will they blend? And then at night, when he needs to unwind, he builds interchanges for highways. I watch British television. He makes interchanges for highways. There you have it. That seems like a good place to end it, doesn't it?
Oh, that's it for this week's episode of
Yes.
the RVMILES podcast.
And any second now, this ant, which I have been watching,
Oh, it wants to crawl across the lens.
Yes.
It wants to so bad.
It's going to show up any second, so I'm going to thwart it.
No,
And I'm
it's going to
wrap
go.
up-
It's going to go the
No,
other direction.
I'm going to wrap up this show
now that
before
you've
it
said
can.
something.
No, I'm going to wrap it up. So anyway, thank you so much for watching today. Thank you to all of those who have gone over to Apple Podcast and left a review. We're at 1,100 reviews. Thank you all so much for continuing to go over there, or on whatever platform you're listening to RV Miles on, be that Amazon or Spotify or Google or Podbean or Stitcher or wherever. Thank you so much for sharing us across your social media. And of course, it's camping season, and we will link to the Blendtec and the Ninja Toaster Oven in the show notes at rvmiles.com/227 so that you can go over to Amazon, check them out yourself, and take RV Miles shopping with you. Amazon.com/shop/RVMiles. I think that's it. You're not going to win this time, Mr. Ant. Stay healthy, stay well, keep logging those RV miles.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.